listening to the voices behind Women's Cricket Chat. That's Alex, Hannah, Georgie and Cassie.
Welcome to this week's Women's Cricket Chat. You've probably recognised two different voices this week. It's the return of myself, Hannah, and joined with me is Cassie Coombs.
Yeah, that's right. We're taking over from Georgie and Alex for this week's episode. And on the episode, we'll be speaking to Tara Norris, Southern Vipers and Southern Brave player.
Yeah, so basically going forwards, hopefully Cassie and I will commit to about one episode a month. Obviously, I've put on social media, I'm trying to get my PhD done. Cassie's just started a new job, all exciting, working in the world of digital sport. So our commitment to Women's Cricket Chat at the moment is a little bit less compared to what it was last year, but we're still super eager to share the stories of amazing people in women's cricket. And we're so grateful that Alex and Georgie are letting us have this opportunity to stay involved and keep shining the light on the stories that matter.
With that, here's Tara talking about her Rachel Hayhoe-Flint final success.
Where we want to first start is reflecting on that final with the Rachel Hayhoe-Flint trophy, because that was pretty epic. Honestly, I had the privilege to watch it live, seeing literally in that press box, seeing the amount of journalists who had already scripted what they were going to write, perhaps got a little bit too confident with it. And I was sat there and I was like, no, anything can happen. And they're like, no, this is done. Northern Diamonds are, they're going to win. They're going to win their first trophy. And then yourself with Emily Windsor putting on that 78-run unbroken partnership, completely turned the tables. So just tell us about that.
I mean, it feels like a lifetime ago now. It's all a bit of a blur, really. But yeah, what a crazy game. I just remember walking off that pitch after we'd bowled and thought, yeah, we've done a great job defending or restricting to 180. And then next thing I know, I'm having to put my pads on and thinking, oh, this isn't looking good. And I remember Lot said something to me just before I went up to bat and said, look, just don't walk off this pitch. Or I think something, if you stay out there, we'll win the game. And in my head, I just got it stuck in that, I wasn't going to walk off until the game was done. And me and Emily spoke together and we, chipped it away eventually. And yeah, honestly. And then the next thing I know, the team is running on the pitch. Everyone's around us, screaming, dancing, singing, whatever. Yeah, just completely electric. Crazy, crazy game. Yeah, definitely very memorable.
And what did you and Emily say to each other when you're out in the middle? What was your sort of game plan at that point? I know you said just sticking out there was a big part of it, but was there anything specific that you said to each other when you're out there?
There was a lot of conversation. Emily was getting a little bit stressed at times. So it was mainly just me trying to calm her down, say, I'm a massive optimist, but even I was a little bit apprehensive. But I said, look, we've got this. It wasn't even, I think we had to go at 5s or 6s at one point. So it wasn't anything ridiculous and nothing that we hadn't done before. So I think I was kind of just reminding her of that. And we were kind of trying to calm each other down and assess plans. And the rest is all a blur, really. It's at one point, I think, we needed 35 to win. I thought, oh my God, we can actually do this. Just stick it out a little bit longer and we'll be there in no time. So yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. And yeah, we worked really well as a pair and somehow saw her home.
And the celebrations afterwards, I got to see a little bit of that. It looked a little bit wild in there. How did you celebrate post that win?
That's a great question. One that I'm not sure I completely remember, but it was a bit of a weird weekend. I think I just graduated the day before. Literally went to my graduation and then stayed at the hotel the night before, and then obviously we'd won. I think sort of after the game we stayed at the ground for quite a while, and it was really sweet actually. We all sat in the middle and kind of just shared our memories from the summer and just funny stories that happened. And then I'm not sure I remember the rest of the evening, to be honest, but it was really sentimental at the ground, and there's lots of celebrations and I think a lot of relief as well, and a lot of celebrations for the girls. We had a bit of a rocky season. We'd lost players for certain reasons due to the COVID isolations or our players going up to England, which is fantastic. So we hadn't had a smooth sailing season, and we've definitely been challenged this year. So I think it was just celebrating that and sharing the funny stories along the way.
And so with that situation, like you said, you've got a lot of people sort of going off to England and doing things. Do you think that's actually, from a sort of more selfish point of view, a great opportunity for you to sort of step up and take on different roles? Because I know at one point in the 50 overs, I think after the 100, you opened the batting. And so you had sort of different roles to usual. So how did you find that? And was that a good challenge for yourself personally?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first of all, amazing that our players are getting selected and being picked on there for playing well, like to Charlie Dean and Maya Bouchier. But yeah, also a chance for the Vipers to step up, and those players like myself who maybe haven't contributed with the bat, for example, or a chance to really take advantage of that opportunity and go out there and see what you can do out there. So yeah, for example, opening the batting in T20, which I never thought I'd get the opportunity to do. So yeah, I think it's incredible, and it's good that these players are being recognised, going out to England, and the players can come through as well. And then it's not just 4 or 5 players that are the core Vipers players. Everyone is contributing, and I think that's what our summer was about. It was a different player that stepped up every game, and it was really good to see.
So my only frustration with that final was nothing to do with you. No, nothing to do with you players. Just more how it was organised in terms of the lack of fans in that stadium.
Yeah, no, I agree.
How did you find that? Because you obviously went from the 100 where you had packed out stadiums to then the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy final, which is meant to be this mega event, to then have quite an empty stadium watching you in what was kind of the biggest event of a regional domestic summer.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure. I think, going from the 100 and having these crazy crowds and then maybe coming back to regional cricket was very different. But I think in terms of marketing, it definitely could have been marketed a lot better. Even if you said, you've got Oval Invincibles winner George Adams taking up the Southern Vipers, and just kind of marketing it in a slightly better way. You saw how well the 100 was marketed and the crowds that were getting there. So I think it could have easily been done. And hopefully that's something which will be improved next year. The T20 Charlotte Edwards Cup was really well advertised, and we had quite a big crowd there for the finals day. So yeah, it was a bit of a shame, but it didn't take away from how good the game was and the result. But yeah, no, I completely agree.
And obviously, like we've said, there's a bit of a difference between the 100 and regional cricket, and sort of back a couple of years ago as well, there was obviously been a difference between the KSL and like the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy and things like that. So going back to those days, how did you find the sort of KSL in that environment? And do you think that sort of gave you a good foundation for performing well in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint and Charlotte Edwards Cup?
Yeah, I thought, the KSL was brilliant. And then I played in the 100 and I thought, oh my gosh, this is 10 times better. This is crazy. I guess in terms of experience, I didn't play many KSL games. I think I played 3 in the total of 4 years it was on. So I probably went out to the regional comp less experienced than other players or other pros. But even just being around that environment, I kind of knew what the expectations were. And even though I wasn't actually performing myself, I knew what the standard was and how you're meant to go about business and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think players being involved in that, and hopefully, the regional stuff is equivalent of the KSL now. Those younger players will be in that environment, and then they can, get into the 100 and vice versa, and hopefully just keep progressing, and the standard will keep increasing, I think.
So you got your cap in Headingley, and that was a great moment for you personally. How did you feel making your debut in the KSL? What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, I think, God, this is a few years back now, but I think it was a lot of relief. Something that I'd wanted to play for Lightning for a long time, and I'd played the previous year, not played a single game. So there was a lot of kind of frustration, I think, and anticipation and just wanting to be part of the team, just so desperately wanting to play and contribute. And, it was such a great team that I wanted to be a part of the winning moments as well. So yeah, I think I got that cap. It was, it was a really special moment. But saying that, getting your cap for any team is always a special moment. And so that I think I only played a couple games after for Lightning, and I was still kind of trying to find myself in the game, in the team, and my role and stuff. So yeah, but getting that cap was a fantastic moment. But the same as getting my Vipers cap was also a very special moment. And actually to have a consistent role in the team and know my place in the team, yeah, it's a great feeling.
How do you deal with that kind of uncertainty, like you said, and when you're trying so hard to break into the team, but you're not getting that opportunity? It's so easy just to give up. So how did you keep going?
Yeah, God, it is hard. You see a lot of players now are getting frustrated if they're not playing, and they're 17, 18, and I was 20, 21 at this point, and I still wasn't playing a game. And, it is frustrating. It is hard work, and there's a lot of emotions in it as well. I think the key for me was I had really good people around me, and I was constantly just pestering the coach. How am I going to get the team? What can I do? Exactly. Tell me exactly what I can do. How can I do it? Okay, I'm going to do this in training. Can you watch? What do you think this is going to do? And in that environment as well, there's so much you can learn as well. You're playing with international players, you're bowling against them, you're batting against them. Just because you're not necessarily playing doesn't mean you can't learn and just enjoy being in that environment. Yeah, how I got through it, I guess it was just pure grit and determination. That was my last season at Lightning anyway, and I think I'd graduated anyway. So I left Lightning, and so I think from kind of having that experience, any kind of team that I walk into, I would never expect to play, and kind of very grateful and humble for any team that I'm involved in, despite my role, because I know how bad it can be and how frustrating it can be. But just to make sure that, I guess, for players who are struggling, make sure you get clarity from a coach exactly what they want from you, and talk to people around you and your teammates and your friends, or even people who aren't involved in the cricket, who give you that perspective of, oh, you're not playing, but you're doing this, and you're going here, and you're seeing this. Then actually you get that perspective of how good it is
And obviously, when you went to Vipers, what was it about Vipers that you sort of really enjoyed? Was it the culture? Was it the values of the team? And obviously, like you said before, as a team, it seems like anyone can sort of step up. You've got people going off to England and things, but there are people within the team that can step up and fill those roles. And everyone seems to be able to be counted on at some point. So what is it about the team that makes Vipers so special?
Yeah, I don't know. There's this culture in this team. There's this aura in the group which is very infectious, and we do have that winning culture, and I think that's a massive drive from Charlotte Edwards and our captain George Adams. Gads is an unbelievable leader in the group, and I'm not sure, I don't think I could pinpoint what it is exactly, but when the group comes together, I don't know, it's just electric. And I think because we've been a very successful team, we know how to win, and we are in good, I don't know, we have good habits. Everyone works hard, everyone has fantastic work ethic, and everyone wants it, really badly. So I don't know if I can pinpoint, but yeah, when the group gets together or when the group trains or plays, there's just that winning culture, which is infectious, and it just spreads around the team.
Thinking about Lightning and the KSL, that gave you kind of 4 to 6 weeks of kind of professionalism, didn't it? It was quite a short stint. It was a contract that was a fair bit of money, but nowhere near the amount of money that you get in the 100. And now, how does it feel to first in 2020 to get that retainer contract, but now to actually say that your job is a professional cricketer?
Yeah, it's crazy. Still kind of speaking to people say, oh, that's what you do for work. I'm like, yeah. And my sisters honestly can't stand it. They say, so you literally get paid to go to the gym? And I'm like, well, no, I do a bit more, but my sister's just absolutely rinsed me. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think just to do something you love and you enjoy and you rock up to every day, and, your teammates are your best mates as well. Very, very lucky, very, very grateful. But I think, you've got to love what you do. And yeah, to be able to say that you do something for work that you enjoy and you take massive pride in, I think is quite rare in a lot of work. But definitely very lucky.
And as we've sort of mentioned before, the 100 was totally different and is totally different to regional cricket. How did you cope with that sort of extra media attention that the 100 had?
Yeah, I guess no one really was prepared for the amount of attention and awareness and, I don't know, media coverage that was going to take place. So I don't think there was any preparation for it. I think the way it was marketed and the amount of money that was put in, we knew it was going to be successful, but I don't think anyone knew how successful it would be. Cass, I think you were there when we were walking back. We'd just played one of our games at the Aegeus and the men were playing. So we'd watched, the first innings at the Aegeus, and we walked back to our hotel and we walked around the ground. And all of a sudden we're kind of chatting away and talking and we're carrying our kit bags. And then there's this like standing ovation and people are cheering and whistling and clapping and screaming. And there must have been about 10 of us or something. And we kind of just looked around and thought, oh, have we missed a boundary? Like, what's happened? And they were clapping for us and they were cheering and they were shouting out, Lauren Bell's name, Sophia Dunkley. And honestly, it was the most naive, but actually really quite wholesome moment, because we were so oblivious to, they were cheering for us and they were so supportive of the women's game. For me, that was just a crazy moment. And then I think the next 3 home games we had, every time we said, yeah, let's walk on the boundary rope. And honestly, it was crazy. No one's ever experienced anything like that. And so I think in terms of where the 100 took the women's game is just crazy and just so good for the game. Yeah, no preparation for it really, apart from I think how to do an interview semi well. But yeah, hopefully it does just get bigger and better, and there is more media coverage, and hopefully that can be transferred into the regional cricket as well.
Yeah, that was definitely my favourite moment. I think a couple of us went through our favourite moments of the tournament, and that was definitely up there, when just seeing everyone walk around the boundary and everyone just on their feet. It was like the best moment for women's cricket, just to see how far it's come. And like you said, hopefully with the 100 and other sort of the regional game as well, we can take it that sort of next step.
Yeah. So how was it to have somebody like Cassie involved behind the scenes, having somebody capturing not your every move, but most moves behind the scenes, so you could get that athlete fan kind of content out there?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was nice to have someone, you do get your media person or someone who's on socials, but to have someone in the team, I think it kind of just added a bit more of that personal touch, and you can get to know the players, and it's great to see what you're doing on game day and on the pitch, but also to see what you're doing kind of behind the scenes, I think adds a little bit more. And yeah, like you said, it's not everything behind the scenes, but just those really nice moments, or those kind of, you're not a cricketer, you're just a person and you're just doing this. Or I think me and Dunks made some Lego one day, but just different stuff like that. And yeah, I think it's brilliant. And actually, to capture those moments and kind of sell it as a whole, not just the cricket, but this is a 4-week or 6-week comp that we're doing, but we're also doing this, these are what we do in our spare time, and these are what these people's personalities are like. So yeah, I think it's brilliant.
We've spoken about sort of the media attention and everything, but what was it like playing in that first game at Trent Bridge? And I guess a lot of people in the team spoke about how they felt almost rushed because you had like running through the archway, you had fireworks, you had a DJ. How did you deal with that? And how did you find that experience in the first game?
Yes, we were at Trent Bridge. I think it was an 11 a.m. game or 11:30 start, and I think there was like 16,000 people there. And also for an 11 a.m. game is, I think, incredible itself. I don't know if it was a feeling of, well, for me personally, I don't know if it was a feeling of rush or just nerves and thinking, especially as we'd batted first, there was more time to wait and more time to, especially for a bowler as well, to think, okay, I've got an hour and whatever until I'm actually going to bowl. All I kind of remember is like fielding on the pitch and then just it being so loud and thinking, this is so cool. This is incredible. You know, it's like midday, there's people, or 11 o'clock, people are 3 pints deep already, and there's music going on. It was just so loud. I remember thinking, this is going to be a good tournament. You know, game one, this is where it starts, kind of thing. I guess, yeah, if you speak to other players, they probably would say there's a bit of rush with, you know, when you can run out and, you know, the 3, 2, 1 countdown, out you go. But I think, I don't know, you want a bit of Shazam. The crowd likes it, and I think that's how it was marketed. So you want all the camaraderie with it. I guess if you know your prep and you know, okay, well, I need to save 15 minutes for the disco lights and the run out and all that kind of thing, you can get all your prep in, and hopefully it isn't too rushed. But I mean, we'll see what they do next year. It could be even more. Who knows? But yeah, I guess there was quite a lot going on, but it was good fun. I think the crowd enjoyed it as well, which is what it's about.
Yeah, I guess most people in their routine are like, right, left pad, right pad, etc. Not left pad, right pad, disco.
Yeah, somersault, backflip,
yeah,
that kind of thing. But hey ho, it's all good fun.
And talk to us about your kind of favourite performance from the 100. What really stands out in your mind, both personally and also other players in your team that you were proud of?
I think the game at Aegeus, we played over Invincibles, and we'd already gone through. We were already through to the finals, but for some reason that was just still quite a big game for us. We'd restricted them quite a decent score, I think. I remember Cap and Van Neerkerk were going pretty well. They were batting together, and then I think it was this unbelievable partnership between Dunks and Maya Bouchier, and they just completely won the game basically. And Dunks was almost doing a lap of the Aegeus, and it just felt like we'd won the whole tournament really. It was just, I don't know, they just batted incredibly, and I think because there wasn't any pressure on us really to win, but we still wanted to have that winning streak. You know, over Invincibles were going in pretty hard, and yeah, they just battled like absolute jets. And yeah, this lap of honour that Dunks gave was just crazy, and you could just see the fight. You know, despite us going to the finals anyway, they were still, you know, determined to win and get us over the line. So that was really special. And I think for me, just playing at Lord's and having my family there was just a really cool moment. You know, despite the result, finals day was an amazing day, and yeah, and be able to share that with my family at the end as well, and actually be able to see them was very special, despite obviously the cricket that happened. But yeah, I think playing at Lord's is pretty magical and pretty special, and also, you know, not everyone gets to be involved in finals day, especially at Lord's as well. So that's definitely something which I'll cherish for a long time.
And how do you think the 100 tested you as a bowler? Because obviously different format, a lot of people, well, no one had really played it before. There was a couple of practice games. Was there anything that you had to change or think about differently when you approached the 100?
Yeah, it was definitely much more ruthless, much less Martin Ferrer, even more so than a T20 as well. Kind of reflecting from it now, I think a lot of my bowling was probably a little bit timid and kind of too worried about who was at the other end. Whereas hopefully next year going into it, I'll play much more fearlessly and a bit more ruthless. Yeah, it definitely wasn't a bowler-friendly tournament. I think you just had to be really clinical with your death bowling. Pretty much every ball was some sort of variation, and just try not to be too predictable. You're only bowling 5 balls in an over, so just trying to get in and out as quickly as possible and making sure your field is going to back that up. You know, I learnt the hard way in the first game against Nat Siver, and then you are going to come up against just some absolute world-class batters who, you know, you bowl well and they're still going to hit you for a boundary. So it's kind of known that that's going to happen anyway. You're going to get hit for a boundary. You might get hit back-to-back boundaries, but it's about trying to execute your best plan as possible and trying to restrict them as best as you can. So yeah, tough, but you know, that's part of the game.
And with your bowling action as well, so obviously you get a good amount of speed. You also get quite a lot of airtime, don't you? And that front arm comes down quite heavy as well.
Yeah, I don't know what it is really, but yeah,
it's quite it's quite a signature kind of bowling action though, isn't it? But for any kind of young bowlers who want to be kind of quick seamers, what advice have you got for them?
I'd say right now, I think it's easy and I would do this as well when I was a bit younger. It's very easy to run in 100 miles an hour and then just chuck the ball anywhere on the side of the net. try and, if you can, just slow your run-up down. I know that seems like a massive ego thing, and in your head it doesn't make sense, but if you slow your run-up down and build up to it, so kind of go up the gears 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 and then bowl the ball, you'll find you have loads more control. You're consistently bowling the same speed, and then when you do get a bit bigger and stronger, then it's all about trying to keep your front leg still when you land, brace that front leg, and you should be able to snap down the crease and hopefully bowl absolute rapid fire. But yeah, it's something which I would always do, just try and run in as quick as I can. And even now when I feel a bit rushed or I don't know, I get frustrated, I want to hit someone in the head, I'll run in too quick and then I kind of lose shape. So just find that repeatable action, find that good speed, that good tempo for you, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
But like, obviously we had Anya as captain. How did you find that, Tara? That was obviously for you as a bowler, someone to look up to, a legend of women's cricket in England. So how was that? Did you get any piece of advice, or was there anything that you saw her doing that you thought, actually, I could do that before a game, or that's a really good thing to do?
Yeah, Anya was brilliant. I've actually never really worked with her or been in the same team with her. So to finally be able to do that and have her captain me was just crazy. She's hilarious, first of all. You know, very down to earth, really cool, really lovely person, and her knowledge of the game is just outstanding. I remember before the first game, she pulled me to one side. We'd just gone through like our plans and gone through the team and kind of all the analysis stuff, and she'd pulled me to one side and said, I can see your brain like ticking and your eyes going all over the place. And she just said, look, just take a deep breath. Don't forget to enjoy it. Like, you're here to enjoy yourself as well. Don't get caught up in whatever's going to happen. Don't worry about what's going to happen. And I think that was really important for me. And I think I needed someone to say that to me, because I could feel myself getting quite nervous, really kind of anxious about what's going to happen and about the next day and my plans. And, oh my gosh, I'm going to bowl against this batter. And, you know, last time I played in the KSL, I remember Lizelle Lee must have hit me for like 30 odd and 1 over. And I think I just kind of had flashbacks of that as a, you know, young bowler. And that conversation that we had it kind of just took all the pressure off, and there was a lot of relief. And she said, look, I'm, you know, 20 odd and play for England, but I still get those feelings, you know, don't worry about it. So I think this, just having that kind of character is fantastic in any team. And yeah, just her sense of humor is brilliant. Like, there's always a funny moment with Anya. Yeah, she's just good fun on and off the pitch.
And also being within that kind of bubble environment as well, I think fans kind of forget how much sacrifice players do give up just to be able to play the game, just to be able to entertain. Obviously, you want to play and perform for yourselves, but for fans, you know, they're buying into this product of 100. They don't get to see what goes on behind the scenes when it comes to that kind of, you're in your room, you're on your own, and you've got so much time to yourself. Like, how did you deal with that? Because obviously you couldn't just go out to a restaurant and you couldn't go off and see your family and stuff. It was a period of time where you were in isolation, and we'll come on to that a bit later on as well, because you've had to do quite a bit of isolation this year, haven't you?
Yeah, there is a lot of downtime. There's a lot of Uber Eats as well. Oh my gosh, delivery must have cashed in during the 100, because that's all we were just eating. Yeah, I think when you're in a good team, you can be with those players and it's good fun, and you know, you find yourself playing cards. Or I think where we were staying, we had a really good kind of rooftop area, which was outside. It was always sunny, so we could, you know, drink coffee, chat rubbish, play cards, kind of do whatever. When you're away and at different hotels and essentially in not your, you know, your hotel bed, it did get a little bit lonely. You know, you're in different environments, and if you're not winning games as well, I think that can be really tough. And kind of the energy in the team, you can tell, you know, people are up and down. I think most when you're with the team and you're on the bus, I mean, even on the bus, you couldn't sit next to players because of COVID. You kind of had to be 2 to 1 table of 4 or kind of separated out. So you couldn't really, it was quite hard to speak to people. There was a lot of Netflix watching, and you find yourself like watching other 100 games as well. We're watching the men's game as well, other women's teams games. So yeah, there was a lot of downtime, but when you're training and stuff, you're exhausted from traveling, training, you know, there's meetings, men's just being switched on. So it was kind of just trying to balance your time and speak to players and family kind of who aren't in the bubble. But yeah, hopefully next year it's not as restricted and we can go out and do stuff and, you know, even just do like activities.
Yeah, and obviously we've spoken quite a lot about, I guess, your journey from like KSL and then Rachel Heo Flint Trophy and the 100 and everything like that. Can you just talk us through sort of when you first started playing cricket? How old were you and how did you get into the game?
Yeah, I was probably about 8 years old. I was born American and grew up in Spain, so I'd never heard of cricket, never knew what it was. My dad watched cricket, but I don't ever remember him talking about it or watching it. And so, yeah, I moved to the UK in 2006 and kind of was still looking for friends and was quite on my own quite a bit and made friends with someone. They said, oh, I'm going to do the after school cricket club. Do you want to join? I thought, yeah, why not? I don't know what happened, but I just picked it up really quickly. Found myself joining the after school club. I was the only girl there and they pushed me towards like a girls club team, which I played for Horsham. And then through that kind of went through the Sussex pathways and then kind of up to end of 15s, England, like development stuff, and kind of just carried on through there and went through all the age groups and then was playing senior county cricket. But yeah, I'd known my family played. I've got 2 older sisters who are very unsporty. So yeah, how I got into it is kind of weird, but you know, it's obviously worked and I've stuck at it. So yeah, here we are.
And you've played tennis as well, don't you? Or you used to play tennis?
I feel like there's a big hype about me playing tennis, and there really isn't. Like, I just like a little bit of social tennis, you know, a little bit of doubles on a weekend. But I did play tennis. I did play tennis in Spain. Like, that was what you did in PE lessons. You know, as a kid, I'd kind of just hit a tennis ball against the wall. But I felt there is big hype, and if someone watched me play tennis, they'd be like, "Is that it?" But yeah, I mean, it's something which I play purely socially. If I didn't play cricket 100%, I would love to be a professional tennis player. Maybe that's post cricket career, I don't know. But yeah.
But yeah, no, so I was just going to say there must be some sort of transferable skills with that as well, just leading you into that kind of cricket playing pathway.
Yeah, maybe the same hand-eye coordination, I guess, or just being quite competitive anyway and just, I don't know, naturally enjoying sports and like winning and that kind of thing. Whereas, yeah, my sisters are the complete opposite. They're not competitive at all. They don't like getting sweaty. You know, they'd never come outside to hang out with me or play with me in the garden. So yeah, it's funny, but I guess that's how it works.
And obviously a lot's changed within women's cricket in terms of like professionalization and things like that. Was there a moment when you thought, hang on, cricket can be a career for me and there is some sort of career within the game?
Yeah, I guess I probably didn't watch like an England women's game until I was maybe 13. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And again, kind of that kind of ignorant child that didn't really know anything about cricket. I wasn't aware there was a women's international team. And I think even then they weren't fully professional. And then it probably, I guess, kind of once I went up the pathways and got a little bit older and saw it could be professional, I thought, wow, this is amazing. But even then, only 2 years ago, to be professional, you had to play for England. And that was until the regional contracts came in, which at that point I was in my final year at university, writing my dissertation, kind of not really sure where women's cricket was going and where kind of what I was going to do with my life, really. Was not expecting a contract, let alone a retainer contract. So yeah, to get that phone call, it was complete shock, to be honest, and just relief and like, oh my God, this is actually happening to me. This is crazy. Yeah, literally the week I handed my dissertation in, I think the week before I got a phone call from Adam Carty, our Vipers director. And yeah, I got the phone call and that was kind of it. I moved back home and was training with the Vipers maybe a month later.
I think that's the story for most players of your generation and those a bit older, that you grew up not having as many kind of female role models because the game wasn't as accessible.
Yeah.
England women weren't playing on TV so much. The Sky deal only came in really during the KSL. Even in that first year of the KSL, it was only a couple matches on Sky. It wasn't the whole tournament.
I think it was in the final maybe. But yeah, no, I completely agree. There aren't enough female role models in cricket or in sport. And I remember as a kid, we had loads of Olympians actually come to our school, but none of them were female. And I think it's such a shame the way women's sport is going. There should be more female athletes coming to schools or giving talks or doing assemblies. Because if you're not aware of it, well, you know, it's like the 1% of people who do follow that pathway, who do follow their passion. But a lot of other girls get pushed into other things, which maybe it's only because that's, you know, typically a girl's thing to do. You know, I coach at a school now and we're struggling to get a team out because cricket isn't classified as, you know, it's not cool. So absolutely, there needs to be more female role models in the sport, and not just cricket, but, you know, in other areas and, you know, in physics and sciences and medicine, just to really, I don't know, advocate and show that this is possible. If you have a passion, yes, do it, pursue it. And almost that belief that, you know, living, breathing proof that, yes, you can do this and it's great and it's brilliant and you should do it as well.
Yeah, that's so interesting as well, because I was going to say that hopefully now girls do have those role models. And I guess that is still true, but it is more accessibility to you guys as players. And, you know, social media as well, the boom of that is obviously brought that closeness even more. Like, you can put stuff on Instagram, and unfortunately 10-year-olds are on Instagram. I mean, I'm sure they shouldn't be.
Yeah, that is worrying.
But they can engage with you, they can see your photos and just know that cricket is a game for them.
Completely agree. And I think that's the positive of social media as well. There's also, you know, the negative side of it, but when you use it for that purpose, like Cass was with in the 100, then you can advocate that and you can show the good stuff in the sport and that pathway and kind of the stuff behind the scenes as well.
But what you also mentioned there as well was about that lack of opportunity in terms of before the regional contracts, there wasn't, you know, people could have just given up so easily. There's so many girls, so many generations of players who went through the whole county pathway, got to that under 19s level, either went off to uni, went to Loughborough and it's amazing, or didn't and then just gave up, focus on their careers instead, because at the end of the day they weren't going to make money from cricket because that wasn't an option. So do you feel, obviously you must feel quite grateful, but do you also feel like, you know, it was right time, right moment, right time, but at the same time it's like you worked hard for it as well to be able to get those contracts? But yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh wow, you're so lucky, and I think, yeah, I am incredibly lucky, but you know, I've also worked my butt off for the last, you know, 8 to 10 years, and players who have worked even harder and way longer. Yeah, I think there was an element of luck, the way the contracts came in at that exact time. For me it was perfect timing. I'd literally just finished uni. I was fresh out of uni, looking for a job, you know, ready to make some money, and you know, sick of being a student and living for student loan. So yeah, there was an element of luck with the timing, but I think all the players that were contracted have worked incredibly hard, and that wasn't luck. You know, that was down to hard work and determination and sacrifices. You know, I do completely agree with you. And hopefully, you know, the luck will be that there's more funding and it won't just be 6 players contracted now, it'll be full teams contracted, and kind of so on, and more money and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I just going back to sort of social media, I think it's, like Hannah mentioned, it's really cool that, especially with women's sport, there is a high level of sort of accessibility to athletes. So like we did in the 100, getting behind the scenes, like chatting to you guys, showing your personalities and things. Do you think that sort of as that goes on, there's almost a bit of a pressure though, as a sort of up and coming role model, the professional game, of feeling like you have to be careful what you post or how much of your life you show to other people? Because I can imagine before the 100, before sort of Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy, you didn't have to think about anything like that. But now you're actually having to think about what you post online and how you're coming across.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that I'm conscious of when I post, or I think because I coach as well, I'm aware that there's a lot of kids that I coach who are on social media. So that's always, probably before cricket, that's kind of in my head of, okay, well, I coach these kids, you know, what do I want them to see? What's kind of acceptable and appropriate? And then I guess, yeah, from cricket and the 100, there is that element of, you know, is this acceptable? Should it maybe be put on a different, I don't know, like a close friends list if you really want to put it out there? But then I think it's brilliant to use that platform to show that, yeah, actually, this is what I do at training, or this is what I do when I'm not a cricketer. This is what I do in my spare time. This is what's important to me. But yeah, I'm definitely aware of it and definitely trying to restrict it and keep it, you know, appropriate, and but also something which shows a little bit of my personality and what I enjoy as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that's like an interesting thing going forward, like that balance between showing your personal life and sort of engaging fans, but also like you kind of want a private life as well. So it's interesting to see how different people sort of approach that. But I know you mentioned before that you're obviously born in USA. We know recently that you've joined up with the USA team. Can you tell us a bit about that process, how it happened, and what your experiences have been with the squad so far?
Yeah, that kind of happened during the 100 as well, which is, you know, a great thing about the game as well. Yeah, our coach of the Braves, Charlotte Edwards, messaged me and said, hey, this coach, Julia Price, is trying to get in touch with you. Do you mind if I send on your details? She's the head coach of USA Cricket. And I thought, okay, yeah, sure, I'll speak to her, see, you know, what she wants to do to speak with me, basically. And she called me and mentioned there was a tour to Mexico and to Zimbabwe, and a couple of tournaments going on for some T20 qualifiers and 50 over World Cup qualifiers. And essentially said, look, if you can get your passport renewed, we'd love you to come out. It would be amazing. You know, what do you think? And I spoke to Lot, and she said, absolutely, you should go for it. So I think after the 100, I went to London, went to the US Embassy, gave them all my details, all the kind of documents. And then, yeah, passport arrived a week later, and they booked my flights. And literally, I think not even a week after the Hey-Ho final, I was on a plane to San Francisco and had, you know, absolutely no idea what was going to happen, who I was going to meet, the kind of, you know, adventures I'd go on. But it honestly ended up being one of the best things I've ever done. I just had the time of my life really. And the girls that I'm out there, the team were just incredible. Honestly, I can't speak highly enough of them. It was just 2.5 months of just a lot of fun, some really good cricket, and just really good people that I met out there. Yeah, the whole thing, even now I'm back, it's all a bit of a blur, but the whole kind of process of how it happened, I think, and the way it happened as well, I wasn't expecting that phone call. I kind of didn't even think about USA cricket. I wasn't even really aware of it. So I think the way it happened as well was quite nice, and there was no expectation really. And then, yeah, kind of came off a successful season into these tournaments. Yeah, and I think the team's ability just to welcome me into that team was amazing. I could completely be myself. And literally the moment I stepped off that plane, I stupidly went to training. I must have landed at 6 p.m. and there was training 8 till 10 p.m. And I think there was a little bit of controversy whether I was, about my selection, because I hadn't played in their inter-regionals. So I technically hadn't qualified, but because I was eligible and played regional cricket in the 100, I was selected. So I was kind of aware of that initially, and aware that I might have taken someone's position. So I thought, okay, I've just landed, I can't be seen as a slacker, I'm going to come to training. And I was so jet lagged, I was like a zombie. And even the girls now would mention it, and I've got no recollection of that training session at all. I think I sidearmed or I threw. I don't think I actually trained, but I wanted to be involved and I wanted to meet everyone. But honestly, I've got no recollection of this training session because I was just so jet lagged and just exhausted from this, 12 or 16 hour flight, whatever it was. But yeah, as soon as I walked in, they were just so welcoming and just really great people.
And what are the sort of differences between cricket out in the USA compared to England? How did you find the differences there?
I think because America is just so big, I kind of took for granted how easy it is for a team to train in one place. Obviously, they're all, West Coast, East Coast. And in terms of facilities as well, they were, it makes you realise how grateful you are. They were just training in indoor nets. There was no real outdoor wicket or any turf net. They had one warm-up game against a boys team, which I didn't play in that game, but it was essentially just a park. So in terms of facilities, there is a big difference, and I guess funding as well. So yeah, that was a big difference. And actually, some really talented cricketers, but kind of just the lack of facilities, which was a real shame. And also how hard it is to get everyone, all in one place together for a camp or whatever. But the standard was different, and especially, I'd come back off, the 100 and regional cricket, but it was still, I was challenged in lots of other ways. I'm all of a sudden I'm bowling with a short leg and 2 slips in the gully, which I've never had in my life. No idea what's going to happen, if I'm even going to get a catch there, kind of thing. Find myself batting a little bit higher up the order, take on maybe a slightly more leadership role, which I'm not very experienced in. So I really enjoyed that aspect. And also found myself fielding the slips as well, which normally I'd stay well clear of. But again, I really enjoyed that. And that's something which, I've not really done before, and enjoyed kind of that new role and responsibility, and just, finding my place in the team, I guess.
And obviously you had such a dominant performance in the Americas qualifiers. What was it like playing those teams as well, like Argentina, Brazil? Obviously we've had Roberta on the podcast before. Did you actually get to speak to her?
Yeah, I did. Oh my gosh, Roberta's great. She's brilliant. Yeah, I remember kind of the first game, the Brazilians just had this tambourine that just kept whacking it. And honestly, you could hear it you could hear it before you even arrived to the ground. And all week I'd said, oh my gosh, that tambourine, man, they keep playing it. And then by the end I'd sort of taken it and I was going for it. But they were just, both teams were brilliant. All teams, Canada as well. We were all staying in the same hotel, so you could kind of socialize with them. And unfortunately, because of COVID, there wasn't a lot you could see from hotel to ground and back. But because we're all in the same hotel and accommodation, you can speak to those players on days off. And it was really nice to kind of just hear people's different experiences of their cricket. And Brazil, I've got all contracted players, which is incredible. And just their energy and their love and their passion for the game, and their pride in playing for Brazil and their country. Every national anthem for Brazil was very emotional, because they just, they were very emotional singing themselves, and you've got a flag wrapped around them, especially Roberta. And the Argentines as well, they had very little funding and little support. There's Brazil with 10 extended staff members. There's us who are really fortunate with, a head coach, an S&C, a physio, and then Argentina with just 1 member of staff. And, they're sharing kit bags, and not all of them have spikes, but they're out there and they're loving their cricket. They're bowling unbelievably. Again, they've got amazing spirit, amazing energy, and that's not meant to be patronising at all. It's just how good they are and how good they could be if they had that bit more funding and support thrown their way. So that was really kind of eye-opening and really cool to see and hear kind of all their experiences.
And what do you think sort of playing for USA will add to your game? I know you spoke about the sort of leadership responsibilities and that sort of different role. How do you think that will benefit you sort of coming back to Vipers and hopefully the 100 next year as well?
Yeah, I think more so the Zimbabwe tour, the World Cup qualifiers, we were playing against Bangladesh and Thailand, Pakistan, and that was a crazy experience. And to, personally for me, I hope it will really improve my batting as well and get a bit more opportunity and to face international bowlers, which is incredible. And I think, having those games under my belt as well, and hopefully, I can be a bit more successful in future tournaments if there are future tournaments, and hopefully kind of take, I guess, the confidence from that into my Vipers cricket, into 100 cricket and so forth. And if Gad says to me, do you want 2 slips of gully and a short leg, I'll know what I have to do because I've done it previously and that kind of thing. So I think, just being exposed to different types of cricket, different conditions. Like, I've never experienced altitude like I did in Mexico. It was worse than any like VOT max I've ever done, in like a uni lab session. It was horrific. I've never experienced anything like that. So in terms of fitness levels, playing back-to-back 50 over games, playing against different teams, like I said, conditions, just kind of, I guess, a holistic overview of taking that back to the Vipers with me.
And you mentioned there as well about the Women's Cricket World Cup qualifier in Zimbabwe. It obviously got abandoned. What was that like? It must have been absolute whirlwind chaos. Like, how did you deal with that?
It was absolute carnage. But I think at that point, because everything was up in the air, we got told like 6 different things in the space of 24 hours. It was like, we're going here, now we're going here, now we're going here. I think by the end of it, it was, I was so not phased by it, and so tired from not sleeping for about 4 days because we were traveling. It was kind of like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, we're going here now. Okay. Oh, we can't stay here now. Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. And it was just like, everything was going to be fine. We were going to get back eventually. It was just hilarious having all teams on one flight and kind of hopping around the airports, and borders were shutting left, right, centre. I got told I couldn't get back to the UK. I couldn't go to Dubai. It was kind of just no one was really phased. It was like, okay, well, we're going to get back eventually. Everyone's safe. Everyone's going to be all right. It was just crazy. Just so much happened, and then we lost our kit bags, and it was just it was a hectic couple of days, but it all worked out fine, and everyone was okay.
But so just looking ahead now to 2022, what is your New Year's resolution and your hopes for the season ahead?
New Year's resolutions. I don't tend to do resolutions, if I'm honest, but I definitely have a lot of goals and kind of aspirations for the season. And I suppose as a team for the Vipers, it's to hopefully make it 3 out of 3 in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy, and hopefully go one more in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. We struggled in the T20 quite a bit, and that was kind of when we were losing players as well. So if we can get to finals day again and go one more, that would be amazing, and get the double as well would just be insane. And I guess individually would be to hopefully carry on from the Rachel Hayhoe final in terms of my batting and kind of become a genuine all-rounder for the Vipers. And I think this be able to contribute with both bat and ball is a big goal of mine. And knowing that, okay, well, if I don't perform with the ball, I can perform with the bat, and be a key role and a key player for the Vipers. And hopefully go one more with 100 as well, and be successful, and hopefully have a bit more opportunity as well, and be a wicket taking bowler and be that death bowler or the bowler that can bowl in all phases of the game, and be successful. And then just kind of the general malarkey, less time on your phone, drink more water, that kind of stuff.
Fabulous. So Cass, this is like Alex's favourite part of so just really quick fire questions.
Okay, ready? Favourite ground to play at?
A GS Bowl.
Favourite music?
The worst question. I'm terrible at that. A bit of everything.
Spice level at Nando's?
Medium.
Favourite teammate to play with?
Oh, that's so hard. That's so mean. Lauren Bell.
Batting or bowling?
Bowling.
T20 or the 100?
100.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Bowling the first ball of the game or the last ball?
Last ball.
Dancing or singing?
Oh, dancing.
Teammate with the worst fashion sense?
It's very controversial. Love her to bits, but Maya Bouchier.
Best dancer in the group?
In the Vipers?
Vipers
Carla
or Brave?
Rudd. Carla Rudd, I reckon, or Stefani Taylor.
Favourite country?
God, this is really hard, actually. Spain.
The last book you read?
Oh, last book I read. I'm actually reading the Will Smith biography at the moment. I can't remember the last book I read, but that's great so far. So I'd recommend that to anyone at the moment.
Love that. Yeah, thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, honestly, we could have asked you so much more, but time is escaping us.
I can't.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't
the
too
sequel.
There's got to be a part 2, 3, and 4 at this rate.
Yeah, 100%.
Massive thank you to Tara for sitting down with Hannah and Cassie and talking about the 100, Southern Vipers, how she got into cricket. It's really interesting to hear that she was born in America, lived in Spain, and then came to England and found her love of cricket through an after-school club. You know, a very normal family upbringing. Sisters didn't play cricket, so it's really great to see someone like that from humble beginnings succeed. And to all our listeners, if you want to keep up to date with everything we're doing, you can follow us on Twitter at WCricketChat, on Instagram at Women's Cricket Chat, and if you want to give us a like on Facebook, we are Women's Cricket Chat. If you'd like to give our personal Twitters a follow, then it's at Hannity1194, at GeorgieHeath27, at CassieCoombs98, and I'm at Alex Jane Pereira on Twitter. This has been Women's Cricket Chat. Tune in next time.